Taiwan. It hit at 1:47 a.m. and measured 7.6 on the Richter scale. It was the most powerful earthquake worldwide for 3.5 years. The latest death toll is 1,455. 3,732 people have been injured. Over 1,000 are still trapped in collapsed buildings and over 200 are missing. Most of the destruction was in central and northern areas of Taiwan. Tonight, at least 100,000 are homeless. Power supplies have been severely disrupted. The government is estimating that property losses add up to 100 billion Taiwan dollars. That's about 20 billion Hong Kong dollars. Ruptured gas pipes have started fires in some of the collapsed buildings, and residents are being warned that aftershocks of a magnitude of 5 on the Richter scale can be expected for the next 2 weeks. Rescue work is continuing into the night to try to free more survivors from collapsed buildings. Jenny Lam is standing by near to where a 12-story apartment building collapsed in Taipei County. Jenny, what's the latest?
Thank you very much, Andrew. I'm in Xinjiang County, which is in the south of the city of Taipei. Now, behind me, as you can see, is one of the buildings that came down in last night's earthquake. They've already dug more than 120 people from the rubble. The trouble is they didn't know exactly how many people were in this apartment block in the first place. 11 of the people they managed to pull out were already dead, and they think there might be another 5. Now, let's take a look from another angle from the top. Now, as you can see, some of the diggers are now still digging through the rubble. Obviously, the rescue work is getting increasingly difficult in the dark. What we can see is the digger digged through one of the, what used to be a story in the building, and what is revealing are people's furniture, their television sets, and then they shine a light into the rubble to see if there's anybody inside. The devastation here in Taipei is actually nowhere near as bad as what happened in Taichung, which is in the center of Taiwan. Now let's take a look at what happened earlier. The tremors came in the night, leaving people with no time to stir from their sleep. Many were simply buried alive. The worst devastation is in Nantao County. Seismologists say the epicenter was only 1 kilometer beneath the ground surface here. High-rises toppled like houses of cards.
一个大地震1至2次，整个楼子慢慢就倒下去。
Roadsides are lined with makeshift hospitals. Many of the victims were crushed by falling bricks, concrete and furniture. The earthquake cut off electricity and power supply. All 4 nuclear power stations in Taiwan grounded to a halt. People fumbled in the dark, trying to find a way out. Those who made it to the hospital desperately look for their relatives, some of them only to find they have lost entire families. In Taipei, the Songshan Hotel in the center of the city collapsed. 8 floors of the 12-story building sunk into the ground. At least 173 people were trapped inside. One by one, they were pulled out. Some managed to crawl to safety themselves. There was a bank on the lower floors of the building and a hotel on the upper floors. And while rescue work has been going on, what's left of the structure has listed more and more to its side. Elsewhere in the city, a residential block came down. Thousands of troops and other rescuers are mobilized in the search for survivors. There's traffic chaos all over town. Traffic lights stopped working. The mayor announced that all schools are closed for the day. At supermarkets, shoppers grabbed what they could because no one expects things to get back to normal for some time. President Lee Teng-hui has called for calm and has promised that the government would evacuate people to safety as soon as possible.
不要恐慌了，已经有了，大家要振作起来，不要为了这个问题啊，失去了信心嘛，哈，站起来。
Other government officials went to see the destruction for themselves.
我们希望我们大家地方中央的政府在这一次这样的一个应变措施能够发挥 一体，把这个工作能够做得非常的妥善。
Rescue centres are inundated with calls for help. Phone lines are jammed in the worst affected areas.
南投地区相互之间对打是没问题，不过对外就是通信中断。
Rescue work is likely to carry on for days, and meanwhile, aftershocks are expected over the coming week. Now, the electricity gradually came back here in Taipei towards the late afternoon, but the power supplied parts of the island is very periodic. And the government estimates that no more than 10% of the normal power supply can be resumed this evening. That's it from me here in Taipei right now. Back to you in Hong Kong.
All right, thanks, Jenny. Jenny Lam in Taiwan. Well, it was central Taiwan that felt the full force of the quake, and that's where most of the casualties have been recorded. In Nantao County, where the epicenter of the quake was located, more than 500 people died. And in Taichung County, the death toll has already exceeded 800. Mary Lois Chan reports.
Roads all over Taichung County buckled from the force of the quake. For hours, rescue teams had no access to this small town. The able-bodied carried the injured to safety. Eventually, some kind of emergency vehicle managed to get through. It was a dangerous task freeing this young girl. But many did not escape, and the town hall became a makeshift morgue. Of all the counties, Taichung is suffering the heaviest death toll. Damage was also heavy a little further south in Yunlin County, where at least 10 buildings were toppled. Officials here say they have no idea how many may be trapped in these residential blocks alone. In neighboring Jiayi County, low-rise older buildings suffered the most damage. Taiwanese Premier Vincent Hsu, a Jiayi native, oversaw relief efforts here. And here in Nantou County, where the epicenter of the quake was located, aftershocks were felt throughout the entire afternoon. More than 600 buildings collapsed in Nantou. Hospitals here also had a hard time coping. Victims were put on any available space, and helicopters flew others out to other hospitals. By Nantou's Sun Moon Lake, a major tourist draw, 4 hotels tumbled. A wine factory in the region exploded, and the fire left to burn. It's a small example of how the island will be hurt economically by the quake, though calculating financial losses is not a priority for now. Mary Lois Chan, TVB News.
The disaster has halted for now tensions across the Taiwan Strait. President Jiang Zemin has offered his condolences and help to quake victims. In a statement, Jiang said the Chinese people on both sides of the Taiwan Strait are as closely linked as flesh and blood. We are willing to offer any possible assistance to alleviate the losses caused by the earthquake. China's Red Cross has offered $100,000 in financial aid as well as relief materials. U.S. President Bill Clinton was also quick to pledge assistance. And Japan and Russia and Singapore have announced they will dispatch rescue workers to join the relief effort. In Hong Kong, Chief Executive Tung Chee-hwa expressed grave concern over the earthquake and extended his
公路、通讯和航空交通受阻，台北县、宜兰县、新竹县、苗栗县等地大停电。据报道，台北股市和汇市今天停市，台北、基隆、桃园、台中、南投、苗栗等地已停课和停止上班。这次地震属浅层地震，震中离地表仅1公里，是台湾100多年来最大最严重的一次地震。据当地电台报道，台北附近多个城市有楼宇在地震中损毁，特别是台中市严重受灾。楼高12层的松山宾馆在地震中倒塌，现场一片混乱。台北电力供应和电话服务一度中断，不少地区楼宇发生摇动并损毁，有人被困。 地震时，台北正好下着雨，由于发生停电，台北一片漆黑。强震发生后，又发生数十次余震，其中5、6次相当严重。由于地震发生在凌晨时分，大多数居民都在睡梦中，相信将会陆续发现有人在地震中受伤或死亡。绅士记者综合报道。
日前在北劇場嘅細路仔獲救嘅情況，由李德成報導。
困喺瓦礫裏邊接近5日嘅6歲男童張景宏被救出嘅時候戴上眼罩，因為救援人員話長期喺黑暗環境裏邊再接觸光線會有失明嘅可能。張景宏一家5口原本係住喺皇朝大廈嘅 P 座2樓，地震之後成座大廈冧咗。到今日中午時分，南韓嘅救援人員探測到瓦礫裏邊有生命嘅跡象，於是集中挖掘工作。
小朋友呢是真的是安全。We have worked about 9 hours. He trapped almost 3 centimeters like this. So we dig out 3 meters. And last 1 hour ago, we can approach him. He is okay, not hurted. Only he need vocal sweat or drinking water or yes.
張景宏嘅姨丈曾經跟隨救援隊伍進入大廈，並同張景宏傾過偈。佢話：張景宏雖然樓高14層，一共有300幾戶，入伙只係有6年。地震之後，下面嘅3層坐晒落地底，其餘部分就傾斜。有居民就話：成個社區只有呢一座大廈有事，懷疑承建商偷工減料。喺冧樓嘅現場咧，好容易係睇到承建商嘅偷工減料手法嘅。咁好似呢一度咧，係大家睇到呢嚿石屎裏邊咧係有幾個鐵罐咁多嘅。另外，有居民就認為政府要徹查今次事件。
我們一個人要買一棟房子真是不容易啦。然後現在已經家破人亡了，老媽還在裡面，政府又看不到什麼人出來。我希望說，我們的總統能夠拿出一點魄力出來，幫我們解決啊！
而呢度嘅一批住戶，朝早就召開記者會，指佢哋而家要求嘅唔單止係物資，而係希望政府可以有長遠嘅計劃去安置佢哋。另一方面，由於當局估計仲有人被困喺大廈裏邊，救援嘅工作不斷係進行。今朝就有一啲寵物喺高層被救出。無線電視記者李德成喺台中縣太平市嘅報導。
香港政府派出嘅一隊消防員，尋日到咗台北之後，由於台灣方面認為佢哋嚟得太遲，同埋帶